Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Kenny's Movie Palace. Today is a different kind of video. I don't have anything, any unboxings or anything. I'm going to talk to you about this challenge that my friend Neil from Neil's Movie Channel. Hey, Neil. I'll leave a link down below. You have to go watch his channel. His channel is fantastic. And he was doing a movie challenge from the Rad 9 movie challenges. That 9 movies that made you, that made me. I can name over hundreds, and there's some that I left off, for obvious reasons. But this 9, I think I'm pretty much set with these 9. My first 2. I'm from the Philadelphia, South Jersey area and grew up in the 70s and 80s. And in the 70s, you only had 6 channels. You had CBS, NBC, ABC, and then you had 3 UHF channels. In our case, it was 17, 29, and 48. 57 came in the 80s. That was later. But these first 3 are what set me off on really loving movies. First one was Blondie and Dagwood. I don't have any of those things to hold up here because, remember, they're still in boxes. So the Blondie and Dagwood movies were, and for the UHF channels, 17 was your scary movies. They were your monster sci-fi. 29 played sitcoms like Bewitched, McHale's Navy, all the 50s and 60s, sitcoms that were really popular. Leave It to Beaver. And they would throw in a couple movies. But 48 was your family movies. They would show, I'm going to give you the first 2. But Blondie and Dagwood, we used to have so much fun watching Blondie and Dagwood. And I think that's how I first got into comedy. With Dagwood running out the door and knocking over the mailman. If you guys haven't seen them, they're on the movies are on Tubi, and a lot of them are on YouTube too. So I recommend, if you have little kids, go sit and watch them with your kids. They're fun, they're harmless, they're slapsticky, and it was from another time, but good times. My second one is the Bowery Boys. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Bowery Boys. They were led by Leo Gorcey, and then Huntz Hall was the dope. He was sort of like Jughead from the Archie comics kind of thing before the Archie comics started. I think that was how they got the idea for Jughead with Huntz Hall, because he always used to wear a hat, just like Jughead. Well, anyway, they're from these guys were from the Depression. They were trying to do everything to get out of the Bowery in New York. So they were coming up with schemes and different things. And it was all fun, harmless movies. Again, the Blondie movies. A lot of them ran an hour and 10 minutes, an hour 20 minutes, and we used to watch them every Saturday. Growing up, and I have the box sets. In my collection. I ordered them from Turner Classics, because they're the only place you can get them. So number 2 is the Bowery Boys. Number 3, another one of our favorites, was Jerry Lewis movies. I think we watched every, and then of course you had to watch the Jerry Lewis telethon on Labor Day. And I used to sit up, and I used to have a notebook and write everything down, and what the totes were and stuff. And we used to love the Jerry Lewis movies growing up. Nutty Professor. What was the I forget offhand. The Bellboy, the Caddy. I just love Jerry Lewis. You kind of, in those days, you didn't care about the politics the person was doing or anything like that, but it was just that his movies, we were little, so we were 6, 7, and 8 watching them, so just watching somebody fall, that was just hysterical for us. So That one is number 3. I'll just put all of his movies, okay? Now the next one. I might get a little emotional about this one. It was my birthday, June 23rd, 1977. My mom took me to see Star Wars. Whew. That was huge. It broke open my love for science fiction, like storytelling. And we used to watch another show called, this is not on my list, but Matinee at the Bijou on Channel 12 on Saturdays. And they used to run them just like they ran in the 40s and 50s. And you'd have a serial, sort of like Green Hornet or Buck Rogers or something like that. And it was like each week they told, it was sort of like a soap opera, but it was like a space soap opera. So it got you to come back each week to the movie theater. So you get one of those serials, you get a cartoon, and then your feature. So Matinee at the Bijou was a show in the 80s that I used to watch every Saturday. And they had like really good movies on there. Film noir, monster movies, that just like all depended on what they showed or what they had the rights to, sort of like Svengoolie. But Star Wars, getting back to Star Wars, was my birthday, and I had I had been begging my mom to go see Star Wars. I was 8. And she's like, yeah. Like that. Well, I didn't know she had it planned for my birthday. And we didn't go anywhere without my brother. So she goes, we're going to go out for your birthday. And I'm like, oh, but everybody's coming. And she goes, no, it's just me and you. We went. Now, I had been to the movies before just to see like Pete's Dragon or something like this, but this is Star Wars. We went there, and I'll tell you guys, my mom didn't watch the movie. She watched me, because the whole time I was watching it, when the Imperial ship was coming on the screen. First of all, I've never seen a screen that big, because growing up, we only had like a 13-inch black and white, or a console that was usually broken. I'm sorry. And the Imperial ship comes in, and my mouth just dropped. And she was like, I've never seen Kenny like speechless before. And she said, when we were coming home, she goes, I've never seen you not say anything, because I'm always blah, 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 blah. And she said, for those 2 hours, I just watched your face. And sorry. And every time I watch that movie, I think of her. I'm sorry. And yeah, so I'm sorry. Star Wars was number 4. Number 5, I'll get back. I first seen this, I remember going down to my aunt and uncle's house, and they had HBO. This was when they lived in South Jersey, and we didn't have any cable in Philly, so they had HBO. Well, I remember hearing about John Belushi on Saturday Night Live, but I was too young to watch it. So I kept on, like, all my little, all my friends in school were talking about this movie called Animal House. So it had just appeared on HBO. And my uncle's gone, let the kid watch it, Marge. And she's like, Mundell, don't give him any ideas. He loves that guy already. So I didn't see the movie when it first came out, but I seen it, I want to say 82. I think I watched Animal House, and I watched it every time it came on TV. I would get the TV guide and literally circle, It was like, oh my God, is this what college is like? And that was the first time I ever seen boobs on TV too. So, Animal House. But, oh, what a fun movie. And John Belushi was absolutely my favorite. I mean, absolutely my favorite. And this leads me to number 6, Blues Brothers. Blues Brothers came out in 1980. I think I seen it the same time I seen Animal House in 82, because we weren't allowed to watch rated R movies in my house. And my mom goes, "Oh, it's a musical. It'll be sort of like Grease." We watched, and she goes, "I think this is enough." And I was just like in love with it. The car chases, the music in it. Plus, it had John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, who I was like, at that point, I had started watching, when we moved to Jersey in 80, I started watching Saturday Night Live. Because Saturdays I could stay up just as long as I got up for church on Sunday. And I was like so obsessed because if the regular show wasn't on, they would run reruns of the classic ones from like 75 and 76 with Belushi and Bill Murray and Chevy and all them. And I was obsessed with John Belushi. Obsessed. That movie is just like one of my favorites. I can turn that on and I'll never get bored about it. Number 7. This is when I started in high school. And I remember all my friends were telling me, this was my freshman year in high school, and all my friends were telling me about this guy from Saturday Night Live. And he's got an HBO special on there. And it was called Delirious. Eddie Murphy, Delirious. Just the first special. And, oh, mama. I asked my mom, I said, I want this cassette for my birthday. I said, all the guys in school are listening to it. And she's like, yeah, okay. My buddy Georgie and Timmy, we used to, between the three of us, we used to recite all the lines on each side of the cassette tape. And, oh, it was just so much fun. I remember I got it after for my birthday, and me and my brother were in my room, and we would just like tune it down because there was a lot of cursing on it. My mom never cursed, and it was like, what is this? It was like mind blow. And that's in the year he was on Saturday Night Live at that time, but the year after that he made Beverly Hills Cop, and before that he made 48 Hours. But it was like, oh man, is this guy funny? And he's still, next to Don Rickles and Rodney, he's 1, 2, 3 my favorite comedians. And that's where I got my joy of comedy, basically, from Eddie Murphy. Number 8, also this was my sophomore year of high school, was a little unknown actor who had a bomb pilot called Bosom Buddies, Tom Hanks. And I remember my friend's dad had taken him to, my friend Jeff went to see this in the movies, and it was, like I said, we didn't do our movies in my house. And he kept on saying about this movie, Bachelor Party. You gotta watch this movie called Bachelor Party. Well, finally, my mom relented when it came to the video store. and we had, I'll never forget, we had rented, Chris had rented, my brother Chris had rented Revenge of the Nerds, and I had rented Bachelor Party. And we watched this, and it just blew our socks off, both movies. But for me, Bachelor Party, that whole year in 1984, 85, I watched Bachelor Party every day. Every day. Didn't care what time it was. I used to pop in a tape. I taped it off of... at those times, you had to have 2 VCRs to tape one and then go. So my uncle had brought his VCR over. This is how primitive the 80s were. He had to bring his VCR over, and we put one tape in the other one and the other one. And it was a lousy copy, but it did the trick. And to this day, I still smile when I watch it, and I can recite every word from that movie. I quote it all the time. Me and my brother have this thing where we'll just say a word and we'll just repeat it, and nobody knows what the hell we're talking about except for me and him. We just smile. The last one, like I said, I could have added tons. Back to the Future's too obvious, but the last one is 1989. I'll never forget, we were obsessed with this guy in our house. So 89, it was my brother, it was a couple days before my brother's birthday when it came out. And my buddy Mike and Mark, they worked at the movie theater that we went to, Deptford 6. And usually sometimes what they would do was they would, especially during the summer, now, we didn't have any air conditioning in our house. So they would just say, Kenny, just buy one ticket, and then we'll just, give you stubs for, the other ones. And then we never paid for popcorn or sodas because they were there, So Mom, Chris, and I used to go, and we used to see 2 or 3 movies a day, depending on what Mom had to do the next day. But there was sometimes that we went in there at noon and left there at 9 o'clock at night, watching 3 movies, but paying for one. But this movie was they had, in our Courier Post in Jersey, they had this, where the movie ads were, they had this thing called Bucks, where you could clip it out and you would save a little money on either a ticket or concession stands. So we went in there, and we had, at that time, we weren't delivering the papers at that time because we were both working, but we had went into a Heritage at the end of our street. Heritage is sort of like Wawa, and or 7-Eleven for people not in my area. And we went in there and took out the one sheet where you could just save $1 or $2. I forget what it was. And it was called Bucks. So we went, and at that showing, we went with friends from my brother's school. So we sat there, and Uncle Buck, I'm sorry, Uncle Buck, spoiler, is my number 1 movie of all time. We went, that weekend alone, we seen it 5 times in 89. Me and my brother can sit there and recite it word for word, and we still quote each other when we talk about it. And it's just a great movie. Takes you back to when things were simple and easy in life. And yeah, you have really good thoughts about that. So it was my 8th. I had 2 of them, but I went with Bachelor Party because that one I watched for a year. The other one I could have told you was Batman '89. I was obsessed with that movie. I seen it. My brother and my mom took me opening night because it opened up June 23rd, 1989, on my birthday, and just totally blew me away. But I'm sticking with my 9 that I have. So sorry for getting emotional. That's my 9. They go back in order: the Blondie and Dagwood films, the Bowery Boys, Jerry Lewis movies, Star Wars. Number 5 was Home Alone. Number 6, Blues Brothers. Number 7, Eddie Murphy Delirious. Number 8 was Bachelor Party, and number 9 was Uncle Buck. So hope I didn't bore you. Sorry about getting emotional there. So yeah, what's your list? Did you like my list? Hope you enjoyed it. Something different. The top Tim's Talkies top 25 of the 80s. Still working on my list. I think I've changed it like about 25 times already since the inaugural list. So yeah, I'll be doing it, but it'll be like later on. Like Tim gave us till July 31st, so I might finish it like on the 29th or 30th because it's that hard to do. So but all right, guys, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I appreciate you watching and taking your time out to watch this. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody.